Yep.
I'm sorry, ma'am, what was your comment?
Said you were tricky.
No, ma'am, we're just taking care of business.
Yeah, right.
Just
Gotta
gotta pay
item
attention.
One, discussion Black Bass Dam.
Okay, let me restate this. Under new business, under number 1, discussion of Black Bass Dam with D. Perky Powell, and I am the sponsor for this one. Motion to discuss.
So moved.
Mr. Pownell. Made and seconded. Mr. Perky Powell, the floor is yours, sir.
Mayor, council, I'd like to pass this out. Give you guys a little. Why don't you pass that around, please, James? We have an issue with Black Bass Lake Dam. It's deteriorating fairly quickly. The big issue is not so much that it is a dam safety issue or a flooding issue. It's the big issue is if the dam does fail during a large flood event, we have a lift station for purified water that is located immediately downstream of the dam. It provides 60% of the water supply for Eureka Springs. It also provides most of the water pressure for fire suppression for the city. So that is the big issue. Most of the houses that are downstream of this dam are elevated. We don't anticipate that in a storm event, there's a possibility, but we don't anticipate that there would be anybody in the roadway downstream. So really, it comes down to our big issue right now is this structure is over 100 years old. The structure that we see now is quickly deteriorating. Let me just direct you to this handout. The first page shows you the original structure. It was a stepped overtopping structure. It had some form of a spillway right in the middle of the dam. That was the city's original water supply. If you turn to the next page, that stepped structure was encased in more armor, grouted rock, riprap, and they raised the dam approximately 8 feet to provide more water supply capacity for the city at the time. What you see there are workmen on top of the dam, and they're probably right at the 8-foot top. They're right at the top of the old structure at that point. Just immediately below, in 2006, when I first started looking at this structure, you'll see a picture of the downstream face. That face shows, well, there's some movement in the courses of rock. The mortar has weathered out. The courses are starting to sag. There are some bulges. We had a few, at that point in time, there were a few buttresses that were starting at the top, were starting to fail. If you'll flip it over to the next page, you'll see that in 2009, those courses of rocks are sagging quite a bit. At that point in time, we have the dark spot at the top of the dam is a wet area, but it is also an area where there is no rock anymore. The buttress that you see there, that's the raised buttress going up the center of the dam. The top of that is almost completely gone. And then at the bottom photo here shows today, 2011, how this has progressed over time. And it's really, in my opinion, and Mr. Berry and I and Mayor Pate and I have been out there, along with Dwayne Allen, Public Works Director. In my opinion, it's the top 8 feet that is the issue. And it's a big issue when we have a big storm event. Say, for instance, the March storm event in 2008. That was a big storm event. We don't know if it overtopped. We think it possibly could have. Our main concern, my main concern about this is that it's deteriorating pretty quickly. Now, what is the benefit of having the dam in place? Well, at this point in time, it does not provide any water for the city. What it does do is provide a recreational amenity for parks, and it is a historical structure. Now, the fixes for this are not inexpensive, but it's not something that we can let languish much further, because essentially if we do lose this, I can't guarantee that we would lose that treated water pumping station. But whether it's out of commission, whether it's damaged, whether it's destroyed, something will happen. And we can't afford to have no fire suppression capability in this city. If you can imagine, we had a lightning storm just recently where somebody's house caught on fire as a result of a lightning strike. Well, in these large storm events, we're bound to have lightning strikes and possibly electrical fires. So I just want to stress that it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. But now I believe the mayor agrees with me, and I know Mr. Berry does also, that we need to at least start thinking about it and gaining the political will to actually try to figure out how we fix this. The fixes aren't, as I said, aren't inexpensive, and we could remove the structure. That's one thing. That is not without a cost itself. We could try to repair this historically back the way it is. That would be, in my opinion, probably more expensive than applying an armor to the existing face. We could do that. We could apply an armor to the existing face and improve the structure so that it could overtop and it would not fail as a result of overtopping, and would not fail as a result of the structural instability, because it is unstable right now. You go up to the top there, I wouldn't recommend it because 300-pound rocks are falling constantly. Okay, the quasi-cementitious material that is there is some of it has some strength to it, but a lot of it is very, very mushy. So if we get an overtopping event, we scour out some more of this, the fascia that's there, and it's more than just a fascia, but let's just call it the rock armor. We scour more of that rock armor out, and then the likelihood of it failing is pretty high. There is another alternative in my mind. We could elevate or relocate the lift station, and that eliminates the hazard. Our hazard is the loss of water and loss of fire suppression. So that's another alternative also. We could lower the dam to its previous height, the pre-1915 height, and make it an overtopping type structure. They all have costs associated with them. The costs we've looked at, I've worked with Lowell Johnson, with Ozark Southern Stone. He's got a quarry here. He's got some very good dense rock with a lot of dolomite in it, very good material. I just came up with a preliminary plan to stabilize it using large block, and I'm sorry I don't have a sketch of that available for everybody to look at, but basically large block stepped up the face of the dam, grouted in place behind that large block to the failing face. So you would have basically one large mass there, and that's one aspect. We've looked at even using just a wedge of riprap, large rock, waste rock that we can gain from Ozark Southern Stone or from any other quarry, but they've got a lot of waste rock that they have to eliminate from their top layers. It would be relatively cheap. And create a wedge, which is nothing more than just mass to prevent this thing from failing. In my opinion, we can't really allow this to languish much longer. We need to really have some political will to address it. Mayor?
Mr. Pano?
Clerk, the Boone Carroll pumping station is below the dam, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. I want to, for clarification, I think this would have probably not come to light had it not been for action taken about 4.5, 5 years ago by Miss Balance and Miss Hahn when she was sitting on council and we were in with this. The major issue is losing the firefighting capability within the city. If something should happen to the dam, and it wipes out the pumping station, correct?
Well, yes, by wiping it out. I mean, the fire suppression capability will be there for a period of time, but it basically wipes out the capability of this lift station to provide potable water and the fire pressure for our system. It basically lifts this water up to the pivot rock tank, doesn't it?
Tank up there above Mount Air. I mean, any of the Ozarks, isn't it?
No. Well, there's a pivot rock tank also. Yeah, and I think it goes to
Both of them.
both of them. Okay.
Can the level of the lake be reduced down to the point where normal rainfall or exceeding rainfall can divert that water without affecting the lift station?
Well, it's not the normal rainfall that we're concerned with, really. It's not the small rainfall events. The more frequent 5-year, 10-year, probably is more like a 5 or 10-year that would fill up the spillway. Anything in excess of that will go over the dam. The problem is when you do have a large event, let's say the Hurricane Ike event, where you have anywhere from 6 to 10 inches, depending on where you were in this drainage area, falling. And it could be empty. It'd fill up relatively quickly and then spill over. So it's the large storm events, that's what we're talking about. We had 2 in 2008. It's not like they won't happen. And the structure is quite hydraulically inadequate. That spillway is not large enough. And the state's report addresses that also, the old reports. Yes, ma'am.
Might that be another option, to lower or make larger, or both, the spillway? Say, I know when Mayor Schiniger was in office, they actually lowered the spillway somewhat. Would it be an option to possibly lower it even more? Would that help solve the situation?
That's always possible. When you're dealing with dams, you can, a couple of things that you do is you either raise the dam or you widen the spillway, or you do a combination of both if they're hydraulically inadequate. In this particular instance, we think that it's hydraulically inadequate. Yes, it's going to overtop, but it's structurally unstable. And it's become more so. As you've seen, I believe I brought forward black bass to council, and it was Mr. Berry who brought it forward, and then Ms. Ballots actually was with Ray Hahn on a dam committee, I guess, and I met them several years ago, and they were addressing this issue. There are many things that we could do. It's just a matter of how do we guide ourselves to, as a city, to deal with this issue. My recommendation is to try to stabilize the dam. We have a certain investment in the structure for its recreational aspects for the park, and stabilizing it would also solve our problem with overtopping. I think below the dam there are wet wells that exist that have been filled in. So in a sense there is scour protection there that's below the dam, not below all of it, but for quite a bit of it. So if we provide just a means of protecting it, I'm not saying that's the only means or methods to deal with this issue, but it's something that we really need to address. Yes, ma'am.
If I may. Okay, I'm not up on this, and obviously I just know bits and pieces, but obviously you've been on top of this for several years now, and I'd love to get my hands on some of this research and read it. But do you think it would be possible for you to gather together a review or even just something, a quick bullet point of ideas that you think need to be, of challenging ideas that